Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Mr. White here with part 5 of your world history spring semester final exam review. Right now we are on the section about World War II. So what you need to do is get out your test review paper, follow along, go to the section that says World War II. We're starting out on number 68. So without further ado, let's get to it. Number 68. What event began World War II? Simple. That was when Hitler invaded Poland in 1939. If you remember the European theater video that I made, that was the very first thing that we talked about in that video. So go back and watch the video if you don't remember. All right, number 69. What is appeasement? Who practiced that policy prior to World War II? Appeasement is when you try to avoid war by giving into the demands of tyrants or bad people. Guys like Hitler. When Hitler started asking for more land, the Allies just kind of gave it to him. That was appeasement. Okay, the ones who practiced appeasement, as I said, were the Allies, like Britain and France and the U.S. They kind of just let Hitler have what he wanted, and eventually he ended up starting World War II. All right, so number 70. What did the Japanese bombing of Pearl Harbor cause? Simple. Pearl Harbor was an American naval base, so when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, that brought the U.S. into World War II, seeking revenge on the Japanese. Alright, so number 71. How did President Roosevelt bring America out of the Great Depression? Well, the Great Depression was a time where lots of people lost jobs, so President Roosevelt tried to help by creating more jobs through government programs. And this was what he called the New Deal. Reducing unemployment helped people have more money. When people had more money, they could buy more things. When people could buy more things, businesses needed to hire more people. And slowly but surely, this sort of helped to lessen the negative effects of the Great Depression on America. Alright, so number 72. Why did totalitarian dictatorships gain power in the 1930s? Well, that was because the new democracies in places like Europe failed to meet the needs of the people. So many countries, like for example Germany, were looking for a strong leader who they thought could solve all of their problems, and that was why they turned to guys like Hitler. Alright, so number 73. Why did the Japanese begin to practice imperialism in the 20th century? Well, the main thing was that they needed more raw materials, aka natural resources. Japan is an island nation. They don't have a lot of natural resources like iron and coal, so they had to go out and get them from other places. The place they decided to go was to Asia. They thought they could get those things from Asia, and that brought them into conflict with the United States and other countries. Alright, so number 74, what is fascism? Well, fascism is a totalitarian style government that has strong nationalism and uses media manipulation and violence to keep people under control. A great example of fascism would be Germany during the 1930s and 40s, or also Italy and even Spain during that same time period. Alright, so number 75. How did the Treaty of Versailles lead to World War II? The Treaty of Versailles was something that created a lot of bitterness among the people of Germany. Look back at video 4 if you don't remember. But remember, the Treaty of Versailles treated Germany unequally. It blamed Germany for World War I, and so that made Germany want revenge, and that's how World War II got started. Alright, so moving right along. Number 76. What was the Holocaust? Why did it happen? Hopefully everybody remembers the Holocaust. Remember, we did that whole gallery walk in the back hallway with all the pictures. The Holocaust was the mass murder of millions of European Jews, as well as other groups like gypsies and homosexuals and cripples, pretty much anybody who was deemed racially unfit by the Nazis. It happened because Hitler wanted to have a final solution to what he called the Jewish problem in Europe. Basically, Hitler thought that Jews were the reason why Germany lost World War I, and that they were unpatriotic, and that they really were against civilization, and that's why they needed to be destroyed. Or at least that was the argument Hitler made. Alright, so number 77. What caused the Great Depression? That was from the stock market crash that happened in 1929, as well as other factors like real estate overspeculation and the heavy debt that many Americans had accumulated trying to buy more stock and more real estate, which eventually ended up becoming nearly worthless. Alright, so number 78. Why was Hitler elected to power in Germany? He was the guy who inspired a lot of national pride among the German people. He made them feel really proud to be German. He made them feel like they were the greatest people on earth. And therefore, they had hoped that he could be that strong leader that everybody was desiring, and that he would be somebody who could get revenge against Germany's enemies and make Germany a great country again. That was what they hoped. Didn't quite work out that way. Alright, so number 79. How did Muslim nations such as Egypt and Syria react to the creation of Israel? Well, I don't think they liked it very much. I'd say that they were pretty much against Israel, and to some extent they still are today. Remember that they immediately wanted to destroy Israel, and they declared war on Israel to try to prevent the establishment of a Jewish state in what they considered to be Palestine. Alright, so number 80. What is totalitarianism? Well, remember the first 5 letters there are total. So it's a government that has total control. When the government is made up of only one party or a small number of individuals who have total control over every aspect of people's lives, that's what we call a totalitarian government. Okay? So that goes along with fascism and oftentimes communism. Basically think like a dictatorship type of government. Alright, so number 81. Why were the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Well, it was because America wanted to end World War II more quickly. We hoped that by using these devastating weapons against Japan, we could avoid having to do an invasion of Japan, which certainly would have cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives. We hoped that by dropping these bombs, we could avoid all that. Alright, and number 82. What led to America's developing and dropping of the atomic bomb? You may remember that Albert Einstein, the famous scientist, knew that Germany was trying to develop an atomic bomb. So he wrote a letter to President Franklin Roosevelt of the United States to ask for the U.S. to develop this weapon first. The reason why he thought that we needed to develop the bomb first was because he thought that our country would be more likely to use it wisely than Germany. And considering that Germany was run by Hitler at that time, I think you can understand why he felt that way. Alright, so moving right along, number 83. How did better weapons and tanks affect warfare during World War II? Well, better weapons and tanks made it possible for armies to advance rapidly into enemy territory. The Germans were the ones who pioneered this strategy, and they called it Blitzkrieg, which means lightning warfare in German. So that was how better weapons and tanks affected warfare during World War II. Alright guys, that is it for the World War II section. That means there's only one more section to go before you are all done with your final exam review. Of course, remember that you need to be studying all this information. I mean, you've done a lot so far. We've gotten pretty far through this packet here. So don't waste all that you've done. Make sure that you go over it, make sure that you study it, and certainly don't just look at it one time. Look at it as many times as you can, quiz yourself, and I'll see you at the test.